Alright guys, time to get this clutch, flywheel, everything buttoned up. Sorry it's been so long since I've posted. I've been waiting for this clutch. Apparently it was on back order. They were out of stock for a while, so finally got it. It's a Marlin Crawler 2,500 pound, and you have to actually call them and request this heavy duty clutch. They don't have them on their website. So if you have a if you're planning on doing some mods to your TDI, you gotta call them, and this thing should hold some power. So let's get this flywheel on. So these bolts, these are they're not the torque to yield bolts. They don't stretch at all, so the Volkswagen torque spec isn't really going to work for these. So what I'm going to do is go about 70 foot-pounds on these, and I'm going to use some blue Loctite as well. Alright, so we got a Loctite on. Let me take this camera off, I'll show you guys. So you can do when you're torquing the flywheel bolts is put a bolt in the flywheel and in the bell housing and use a wrench, and it really doesn't put that much stress on the bolts. It's always worked good for me, so that's one little trick you can do. And yeah, back to the torque on these. So Volkswagen spec is, I believe, 44 foot-pounds plus a quarter turn, which that's going to net you probably, I would assume, over 100 foot-pounds. But the Volkswagen bolts stretch, so that's going to be way too much torque on these. So I think the Toyota was like 65 foot-pounds. And these are 12.9 bolts. So I looked up the torque spec, just like a generic torque spec for a 10 millimeter 12.9 grade, and it was around 70. So that's what I'm gonna do. So just start with like 40 foot-pounds, go in a star pattern, and just work your way up to 70. So we'll do that now. So that was 30 foot-pounds. We'll go 50 next. So there's 50. I'll bump it up to 70. Alright, flywheel's done. So now we'll clean it up, clean the pressure plate, and then I got the little alignment tool. So I'll show you guys the steps in getting the clutch mounted up. Alright, we got everything cleaned up. Just go through with brake cleaner and a rag and wipe it till you don't get any of this black crap coming off it. Let's clean this surface and the flywheel surface. And then that's brand new, I haven't even touched it, so if you get any oil or grease on that disc, you better clean that too. So here's the alignment tool. This clutch has the hub, so the hub side goes into the pressure plate, so it'll mount. I mean, it only goes on one way. That hub will hit the bolts in there, so it'll mount like this. Let me get this camera up and they'll show you. So get your alignment tool, Stick it all the way through. Make sure you're in the pin. And it should stay there enough until you get your pressure plate. Oh. Just don't do that. So then line up your dowels on the pressure plate. Like so. And get a bolt in there on the top to hold it in place. And these are torqued to 15 foot-pounds. I'm going to use just a little bit of blue Loctite. Not a little too much. You just need just a little bit. So go around and get all the bolts in. Okay, so the way I've always done it is, you see this has, you can move it around. It's got a little bit of play in it, up and down. It's obviously a plastic guide. So just kind of push it all the way in and try to center it as best you can. And just go around, snug these bolts up just a little bit. Once you get them semi-tight, I mean there's still a big gap here, but pull this in and out. Make sure it's all lined up. Last thing you want is your input not going in the clutch. So just kind of hold it and go around again. Snug these up a little more. Alright, you can see that's seated against the flywheel now. Come back, make sure that's still good to go. And then we can get our torque wrench set at, it's at 15 foot-pounds. It's always best to not use an extension when you're torquing if you can fit it. And then when you're all done, come back, make sure that's very important. Make sure this is slides in and out. Shouldn't be any resistance at all to it. So now this thing's pretty much ready to get in the truck. I already got the throw out mounted in the truck, so I'm gonna pick this back up when I drop the motor in for hopefully the last time, and we can get fabbing on everything else, get this thing running. Alright guys, this thing's ready to go back in the truck for hopefully the last time. So all the clutch is all good to go. So I'm going to get this thing over there, and hopefully everything will line up with the input shaft, so we'll see. Alright, my stand ain't high enough to get up here and show you guys, but I'm going to get that all lined up, get the motor mounts on, and I'll show you how everything sits. Alright guys, there it is. So the input shaft, everything lined up perfect. It slid right in like nobody's business, so that's all good to go. I'm going to get the starter on it and clutch and everything, or the slave cylinder, get that bolted on. Make sure all that's good to go. So yeah, hopefully that's the last time I put it in. We'll see. Everything looks pretty good, so we should be good. Alright guys, I got the starter on. I'll show you that. plenty of clearance here. And with that manifold, that separate BHW manifold, there shouldn't really be any turbo clearance problems. It's going to be sitting higher up, unlike the ALH, sits way down here. So shouldn't be a problem there. Slave cylinder's on, everything's good to go. So first order of business, I'll probably tackle my oil system. So I got the TD conversions adapter plate there. So I need to mount an air cooler here, and then I have a thermostat for it and all the AN lines. So I'll get all that wrapped up, and so that'll be good. And then get some power steering lines built. And then I don't have a turbo yet, so I'm still waiting to order that before I start building all the intercooler piping, exhaust, and all that stuff. So get what I have already here. I can get working on that. So I'll show you guys that when I get to it.